Alright, so I know what you may be thinking. Soldier, you haven't even talked about anything Invincible related on your channel. Why now? Well, you see dear viewer, I've been following Invincible ever since the first season came out and went viral. And with season 3 rolling out right now, I want to give my thoughts on what is to me the most interesting conflict present this season, that being the relationship between Mark and Cecil. These two have already had problems with each other in the previous seasons, but now in season 3 with the post-Angstrom Levy Mark, yeah, it was only a matter of time before this ticking time bomb erupted. The main catalyst for this schism happened literally one episode in. What set Mark off was seeing the reanimen once more, and yeah, I get why Mark was about to crash out seeing these things being used by Cecil. Like, I mean, the show really tries to present Mark's point of view favorably. But, I'm sorry, Cecil is right in mostly every single way. Mark's main point revolves around not wanting to work with murderers, pointing out how the new Darkwing ruthlessly murdered people in Midnight City, and of course pointing out the terrible things that Sinclair did in the first season. And although it is understandable, I do have to ask why. Like seriously, what is the problem here? Yes, Sinclair and Darkwing are evil, but instead of using their abilities for evil or selfish reasons, Cecil has rehabilitated them, getting them to work for the side of good and justice. But instead, Marks want to see these two rot in prison? The same prison where definitely no one has escaped ever? Like, I'm sorry, but this viewpoint is just so childish. What Cecil is doing here is immoral? Sure. Unethical? I see that. But quite literally, what Cecil says here is true.
We can be the good guys. Or we can be the guys that save the world. We can't be both.
To me, justice is Darkwing and Sinclair using their smarts and powers for good, pushing science and the G.D.A cause further regardless of their previous crimes. Like, Cecil is out here facing aliens, Viltrumites, kaijus, and world-ending calamities. You really think this man has time to worry about ethical hiring practices? I mean, this has real-life precedent. Look no further than one Werner von Braun. Known as the father of rocket science, von Braun was one of the notable names in Operation Paperclip, or the time when the United States recruited a bunch of Nazi scientists after World War II for their expertise in rocket and jet technology. Von Braun was a genius and a pioneer in rocket technology, yet despite that, he willingly joined the Nazi Party just for a career move, and was very willing to get down with the many fucked up things that regime did. So, when he surrendered to the Americans and got whisked away for his expertise, according to Mark's logic and philosophy, he should have been instantly jailed and his technology scrapped and never used! I mean, this is pretty sound, right? Von Braun has a lot of blood on his hands. Like I said, he willingly joined the Nazi Party just to fund his research. Research that resulted in the V2 rocket, a program that was used by the Nazis to terrorize the citizens of London and Belgium. Thousands died from this, not even mentioning the countless thousands of forced laborers and test subjects that perished due to this program that Von Braun willfully turned a blind eye to. And should he have been punished? Yeah, probably, but this is a very extreme case. Sinclair is definitely a lot more sadistic, but the numbers are very telling. But instead of any punishment that Von Braun rightfully deserved, the Americans were able to look past that and instead used Von Braun's mind to further the technology of all humankind. Technology that would take us to the fucking moon, yeah! And ICBMs too. Woo! The whole point of this tangent that led me down a very deep rabbit hole is mostly meant to show that evil men can be used to do good things. I mean, hell, Mark was being extremely ungrateful here. Dog. Mark, my guy. It's season 3, and you still can't log in. How many times does your ass need to be handed to you to stop holding back? I know the entirety of season 2 was just Mark not wanting to lose himself and end up like his father, but in this case, Mark, these are bugs! Your unwillingness to log in against a random villain of the weekend as pet bugs could have resulted in countless hero deaths. Yet, if it wasn't for Cecil's unethical methods of using Darkwing and sending in the reanimen Helldiver style, how many would have been lost that day, Mark? The reanimen were shown to be vital here, freeing all the heroes and being the key reason why Doc Sizing was stopped. And instead of a thank you or showing any kind of gratitude, Mark just crashes out? Going straight to Cecil to complain instead of realizing that Cecil wouldn't have to have used these things if Mark just fucking locked in! And trust me, Mark does have a really good reason to be pissed off here. What Sinclair did was horrendous and sadistic, especially with it almost happening to his best friend William. Hell, I mean, the whole mini arc of Donald and William's boyfriend connecting and Donald saving this man's life was one of my favorite arcs of Season 2. I really get why Mark is so disgusted seeing these things again. But Mark just being completely unable to see this from Cecil's perspective of why these reanimen can be very useful in the right hands just loses his case for me. Especially after Mark saw them firsthand of them saving countless lives of his fellow heroes. Although, if there was one thing that Cecil did do wrong, is that he played his hand horribly here. I mean, you saw how ready Mark was to crash out on everyone just on seeing the reanimen again. How did you think that a 19-year-old was going to react that you put a bomb in his head? Regardless of that Cecil fumble, I can't really blame him on putting that chip in Mark's head. Yes, this is a blatant violation of Mark's trust in Cecil, and he has every right to be upset at it. But once again, looking at Cecil's perspective, it shows to be so understandable. I mean, Mark, buddy, Cecil and the G.D.A trusted Nolan, your father, for 20 years. 20 years! Just for Nolan to suddenly switch up on humanity one day and kill all the Guardians! So yeah, of course they can't trust his son. And to me personally, this reads much more as a precaution on Mark's power and strength, rather than him personally. Kind of like a Batman against the Justice League scenario. Especially since this world has shown that people's minds can be taken over and allegiances can just switch up one day, it most likely is the case that Cecil and the G.D.A have these kinds of precautions for every Guardian of the globe. I really doubt Mark is special in this case. And for as calculated and heartless that this makes Cecil, you can't help but see that whether you love or hate him, Cecil is right. And even the latest episode gives me more ammunition, where, after the episode 3 cliffhanger, Mark, instead of using his words to talk it out with Cecil to see if this Terraria Destroyer probe is his, Mark crashes out again! And trashes the Pentagon for a crime that Cecil didn't even commit! Well, I mean, they are technically spying on him, but not in a provocative way, you know? Yeah, let's just move on. This episode even further feeds my agenda of Mark still refusing to lock in. Even when confronting a man who's killed, enslaved, and oppressed billions in an alternate version of the Immortal, Mark is hesitant to kill him. Like why? This is not the Immortal you know. He is asking to die. It really takes Mark to be attacked or be in life or death mode to lock in like everyone knows that he can. Hell, at this rate, Mark would just let any mass murderer live if they weren't threatening him.
Look, you're just goddamn bunker for Christ's sake. Finish the job.
But Cecil, I can't. This man has a wife and a dog. I don't kill. I can't.
Jesus Christ, kitty. This is Hitler we're talking about. What do you mean you can't?
That would make me just like my father. I will bring this man to justice. Please, sir, come with me.
Kid, this man killed millions. Justice would be splatter his brains against this goddamn bunker right now. Hell, you ever take a history class? You know how this ends, right?
Wait, what? How does it end? Blade and Mark's slander aside, this season has been amazing so far. I really want to see where Mark's story will end up, and even though I have my minor issues with them as I already laid out, this is a very humanizing look for Mark. A complicated person who contradicts himself and is still learning more about himself, who he wants to be, and the world he lives in. And this quality of character writing is consistent with the rest of the main cast. Rex's growth has been amazing to see unfold. The relationship stuff is whatever to me, but still shows growth. And one of the most compelling characters in the series is Mark's mom. A usually forgotten and underdeveloped role in superhero media has been expertly crafted into one of my favorite characters in the show. Like, damn, this writing is so good. Makes me forget just how ass the animation can be sometimes. Oh my goodness, that background is so bad. Alright, well, that was enough yapping. I really just wanted to see how fast I can make a video. Maybe I'll do this again at the end of the season if my opinion has changed in any way. I heavily doubt it. Of course, remember to like and subscribe, go watch Invincible, seriously it's great, and overall, Cecil is right, and we need to triple the defense budget. Now!
Even superheroes aren't used to seeing kids do something like this. But I know you were just trying to help.
They got my man fucked up.